Okay, everybody, we are at top of hour. Thank you so much for joining me on Wednesday webinar. If you are going to attend anyone, this is the perfect one. We are going to be talking about risk assessments. So welcome. What are they? Why you need one? If you need one, I'm going to be providing you with some really cool tools and suggestions on how you can make sure that you're protecting everything. So I am glad you have joined us. Today, Sarah is with me as usual. Sarah is going to be watching the Q&A, so please ask questions. I cannot tell you how important that is, and I'm sure everyone in the room will be able to benefit. So please make sure you're using that Q&A. I try desperately to stay within the 30-minute time frame. I know you are all busy, so let's get started. All right, for those of you that do not know me, I am Lisa Brown. I am CEO and founder of CST Group, Inc. We've been in business close to 24 years now. We are headquartered in the Adirondack Mountains of New York, but we also have an office in Southwest Florida. And there's just some additional stats on who I am. Welcome. We appreciate everyone being on the call. Okay, so my goal today is to provide information on how to protect your business from cyber threats. Okay, so my goal is to try to help you identify whether or not there's any gaps or holes in your network, in your security protocol, in your technology. So that's going to be the goal of today's webinar. All right, so if you could grab something to write with, there are going to be some important kind of key notes I just want you to take. I will be providing you with the slide deck at the end. So if you have registered, Sarah has your email. She will email you this slide deck for your records. But if you could just get something to write with, that would be fantastic. Okay, guys, there are 3 simple mistakes business owners are making with their data that really no one is talking about. So the goal today is to just let's get those 3 addressed, and so that we can begin to make some resolutions. All right, the first one is believing that antivirus is enough. I think that's a misconception that many of you feel that, hey, you've got antivirus and that's taking care of you. So we're going to provide a little bit more information on that. The second one is missing the warning signs. You are all given kind of clear warning signs of some stuff that you should be watching for. I'm gonna lay that out for you today, so you'll be able to identify that. And then not seeking validation. So we want to make sure that there's a checks and balances that is happening with regards to what your IT firm is doing or your IT staff are doing versus testing it out, right? So we're going to provide you with some information on that today. All right, first one, believing antivirus is enough. So we're going to focus on that just for a few slides. All right, 75% of ransomware victims report having up-to-date antivirus. Okay, so what does that mean? They thought they were safe. That's what they were really investing in security. So they took it serious. They spent the money, and attackers still got in. So antivirus software just can't keep up. It cannot be the only thing, right? Hackers can bypass your antivirus because they're constantly evolving and changing their tactics. And antivirus software is kind of like your immune system, right? So if you think about it like that, when something new is detected in your body, it adapts, right? It begins to fight back. And for the most part, that happens every day, right? We breathe in something and our body just adapts and maintains that. But sometimes it gets bombarded with something that's not all that great, and that's what makes us sick, right? It makes us want to be fluids and rest. And that's ultimately the same thing with our virus software. And even AI, which is artificial intelligence that your antivirus programs use, even that needs to learn, right? And that takes a little bit of time. And it's that gap where hackers are able to get in and cause some havoc. Okay, so insecurity, what worked yesterday does not work today. All right, it's an ever-changing, evolving thing. And 1 out of 5 users will click a malicious link. 1 out of 5. So if you take a look at your offices with your staff counts and you understand that 1 out of 5 are gonna put you at risk, I mean, that's a huge thing, right? I mean, so we want to make sure that education is always at top of mind, and you're always discussing it and what your expectations are, because we certainly don't want your staff downloading something. Now, all businesses are at risk. This is happening to all sorts of businesses, whether they be small business, big business, business in the cloud, or any and all of them. Okay, so no one is exempt from attacks. Okay, so what can you do? We want to make sure that you have more than antivirus protecting you. Okay, we want to make sure that your users, your data, your reputation is secure, and you can't do that solely by using an antivirus program. Okay, if you have an IT firm that is not us, please talk to them about it. Make sure that you have an understanding of what they are providing you so that you can just have some peace of mind in knowing. Okay. All right. The second myth is kind of missing the warning signs. So that's a big mistake a lot of people make. I'm going to provide you with just a list of some of those warning signs that you may be experiencing. And the first one is simple warning signs your network is insecure. Okay. And you can identify that because if you can log into your business email without being prompted for an access token or a code that's sent to your phone, that could be putting you at risk. Okay, that is multi-factor authentication. It is part of the new security protocols. We encourage you. I get it. You're all screaming at me saying you hate multi-factor. I get it. It's an inconvenience, but the inconvenience compared to the risk definitely outweighs itself. Okay, so please make sure if you do not require an access token or a code sent to your phone, that's a flag. Okay. If you're getting spam and unwanted emails, they're constantly appearing in your mailbox. We really want to make sure that that is also a warning sign. So if that is happening to you currently, make sure you're talking to us about it. Talk to your IT people about why you're all of a sudden getting a ton of spam and unwanted emails. Okay. 74% of organizations in the US experienced a successful phishing attack. So they are coming after you, right? And that is a huge number. Now, 65% of those experienced business email compromise, which means the phishing attacks came in via your email. Okay. So email is getting harder and harder to identify as far as whether it's something that is real or not real. We get calls all the time with regards to, I didn't know whether it was valid or not valid. So just be careful with your business email. And then 47% were infected with ransomware, which is ultimately a huge number. So we want to make sure that those are all warning signs for you. Okay. You are getting lots of warning messages or pop-ups. Okay. So 2 pieces of advice, and then I'm going to add something. Do not click on them. So when you get a warning message or a pop-up or a link that asks you to click on something, please don't. It is of more concern when there's urgency on that message. That's more of a sign to be cautious with regards to it. And then, of course, call your computer support company just to make sure that you're telling them. Now, one piece of advice I'm going to give here is please read the message. Or the pop-up, read it, identify what it says and who it's from. And the reason I say that is because my team will send messages. And normally they're messages of, please leave your computer on. We're running scans. Sometimes it's just a little statistical of everything that we're doing for you. And we get a lot of phone calls saying, hey, I got a pop-up, but they never actually read it. So please make sure that you are reading the warning messages, read them. To make sure that you get an understanding of why you were getting it. Is it a Windows update message where it's just asking you to download some updates or patches? Is it some message from your IT company? That matters. They could just be communicating with you. So please read the messages. When you call your computer support firm, tell them what the messages say. You can't simply just say, I got a pop-up message. That's really difficult for us to track sometimes. So please make sure that you're reading the message, read the warning message or the pop-up, don't click on them, and then call your IT team so that they can address it. Okay, makes sense? Beautiful. Okay, the last sign is you don't know what to do if you see something like weird emails in your sent items, like you didn't put them there, you're not really sure. Profile updates, like an unexpected change to your phone number or your address or your image. Be careful with any kind of update that you didn't initiate. A new signature that isn't yours. Mail forwarders that seem to be dumping your messages either in your trash or in another subfolder, or password changes requests unexpectedly. So those are some things that you should be watching out for. Okay. And if any of those things are happening to you, what can you do about it? Number one, make sure everyone is on the lookout. All right. This is not something that you can put aside, right? I mean, technology, especially if your company or organization is dependent on it, is super important to keep everyone on the lookout. You got to educate. You got to have it top of mind. You got to be talking about it. Okay. That is where security awareness training comes in, which is a whole other webinar. Have a documented way to get help. Okay. If you are a client, we provided you during onboarding kind of a little cheat sheet card that you should have distributed to your staff, your team, that basically gave them the ways that they can get assistance. If we are not your IT team, that's fine. Yours should be able to give you some documented way of how to get help. Okay, whether that be a phone call, whether that be you have to create a ticket or whatever means that they're providing with you to troubleshoot problems. Okay. And make sure everyone knows what to do. Okay. So definitely a call to action with regards to what happens when they do get a bogus email or an email that doesn't look real, and what your protocol is. What is your process of how they manage that? Okay. All right. The third option that we're going to talk about is just not seeking validation. So that's the third mistake that most companies make, is they make a huge amount of assumptions. And I am learning that is not a good thing. So we cannot make assumptions that our vendors are doing what they're doing without some type of validation, whether that be documented material, whether that be ticket updates, whether that be just a notice with regards to what your IT team is doing for you. Okay, so let's talk about that. So do you ever get an x-ray at the dentist? I feel like every time I go to the dentist, he always wants x-rays, right? So every 6 months, he's always requesting x-rays. And all of you will say, absolutely, right? Your dentist is forever asking for x-rays. Now, why is that? Like, why? Why do they need them every 6 months? And it's because the problems you cannot directly see with the naked eye is what he's trying to identify, he or she. So that's why they request those x-rays, right? They want to be able to see what's happening that they can't see just visually. Now, same should apply here. Have you ever had an x-ray of your network? Have you ever truly taken a look at what you can't see with the naked eye? Okay. Have you ever had your security analyzed? Has anybody ever come in and given you any advice on whether your protocols are good? Is your compliance good? Is everything in line? Are you doing what's expected of you with regards to your security of your systems and your data? Okay. Now, here are a few things that should prompt a third-party assessment. Okay. So we're going to identify just a few things that really you're going to want to kick in and get that third-party risk assessment. Okay. If you're only using antivirus, okay, so if you know right now upfront that the only security protocol you have deployed is antivirus, you're going to want to consider a risk assessment. Okay. If you have ever had a breach, data loss, or ransomware, you're going to want to consider a third-party risk assessment. Okay. If you can log into your business email without being prompted for that code, then there's a problem with your security protocol. You should get a risk assessment. Okay. If you get spam, unwanted email constantly appearing in your mailbox, you're going to want to request an assessment. Okay. If you are getting warning messages or pop-ups, once again, a risk assessment is probably a good idea. Okay. And if you don't have a method to report a security incident, it's truly time to get a security analysis. Okay. All right. So why is CST offering these third-party risk assessments? Because we do not want to proofread our own work. Okay. And your IT person should not either. Okay. That's just part of the protocol. I can't proofread my own work. I would love to say that we're doing everything 100% right 100% of the time, but that's unusual, right? So we like to know. I third party assess in my office every 3 months. So it's important that I know. It's important that I know where the gaps are. Okay. So how can you avoid being a victim? Okay. And my biggest advice is make sure someone is inspecting your network no less than every 90 days. Okay. Now, if you are in a compliance driven industry, right? Insurance, legal, accounting, CPAs, automotive, government, you kind of should be looking at what the governing bodies are asking you to do. Statistically, 90 days is when you should be having these third-party assessments every 90 days. Now, CST is going to be offering compliance as a service, which means we will be offering this type of package. It is not put together yet, so we are working with another our third party company. We are working with them to truly get in line with regards to what we're going to be offering and what the cost of those are going to be. So stay tuned for that, and we'll be able to give you more details in the future. All right, so here's what you can do: get a third party risk assessment. Okay. We can perform a complete assessment of your cybersecurity stack. There is the link. And here's some tips. We will not need administrative credentials. So it's not like we need passwords to anything. That is not what we do. Will you have to get your IT department involved? Now, that is a question I get often, and it's really up to you. If you would like to know how they're actually doing, you could do the evaluation without engaging them. We do not need them involved. They will not know we are present. So you don't have to tell them. If you would like to give them a chance to prepare, then by all means, we can get them engaged and let them know we're running the assessment. By the way, do you think hackers give your IT department a chance to prepare before they hack your network? Probably not. Either way, we will do whatever your wishes are. If you want us to get them involved, that's great. And if not, that's fine too. They'll never know we're there. Okay. We will not install anything. So what we do with the risk assessment is we simply scan. We run some scans. The software is very sophisticated. It is not provided by me. It is a third-party company. So they are able to truly give me honest feedback on where I'm going wrong in my networks. If I have any gaps, I want to know. Your IT firm should also want to know. So if they give you any slack, there might be a reason for that. Okay. What we will do is we will analyze your network with some scans. We will meet with you and review those results. And then we will give you simple steps you can take to protect yourself and your data. Okay. There is, once again, the link for you to request that risk assessment. All right. So what's the catch? Just a little one. We can't do this for everyone. We will only be able to do 4 free assessments this month. Anyone after the first 4 who signs up, we'll put you on a wait list, or you can pay for the assessment. We usually charge $1,200 for this type of analysis. So just heads up. If you are interested in the assessment, please register today. Now, as a gift, when you registered, I will offer 2 free assessments for the first 2 people that registered. So if you are those 2 people, Sarah will be in touch with you. So now I only have 2 left. So if you want the assessment, please act on it quickly so that we can get you on the calendar. Okay. So why am I doing this for free? I want to try to help the company that we're working with, which is called Galactic, no secrets. It's Galactic. And the goal is to truly protect 1 million people. So our third-party security team is on a mission to help protect 1 million people. And this analysis is part of that mission. So that's why we're able to do it with some free offerings. Okay, so here's what you can do. Get a free third-party cyber security network analysis. There is the link to do it. So please do it as quickly as possible. So hopefully you will be one of the top 2 that request it. All right. So, Sarah, are there any questions? If you want more detailed conversations, please schedule a free, no obligation phone call, a message to me. It's really just a quick call. So if you're struggling, or if you want to have an off webinar conversation, there are the phone numbers. Please email Sarah. So Sarah, are you there?
Yes, we have one question. What would happen if I fail my risk assessment, and how would I address this with my current IT provider?
That is a fantastic question. I appreciate that. So ideally, there's no real pass or fail on this risk assessment. What we're hoping to be able to identify is any holes. We want to identify the gaps of how, if any place, a hacker could gain access to your network. So it's not a pass fail situation. It's about data. And in order for us to really make great decisions on whether our checks and our balances are in line, we are just going to run the assessment. You're going to get the results. If we do not notify your current IT support team, then you should be able to freely talk to your team about, hey, I ran a risk assessment. Here's what we got for results. And this is what we need to do to fix it. And they should welcome that type of feedback. That should be encouraged. I want to know, as an IT firm that specializes in compliance, I want to know where my gaps are. So I would appreciate the results. So there's really no pass fail, but you would definitely want to present the report to your IT representative and be able to say, hey, this is a result of the risk assessment. What are we going to do to fix all the red on the report? The report is very easy to read. It is color coded, and it will give you kind of a green, yellow, red. You're going to want to address all of the red issues first, and they should be able to put in protocol that corrects that for you. So I appreciate that. Sarah, is there anything else?
No other questions at this time.
Awesome. Beautiful. I am under the 30 minutes, guys. There was a lot of information here. So please, if you have any questions, need guidance, want more information, that's great. Give me a call and we'll get something on my calendar. If you want the risk assessment, there's free, no obligation assessments. There's 2 that came in on the first 2 that registered. Sarah will reach out to you. And then there's 2 that are open. So please get on that link and get the risk assessment offer. I appreciate all of you. Have a great rest of your week. Bye.